All right, welcome to today's daily vlog. Today I'm going to talk about how like the post-it note is been the flashcard of my workouts, right? So whenever you go into like a presentation, a speech or whatever it may be, some sort of like public speaking event or some class project or whatever it is, a presentation for your work. Usually when you go into those things, you have some sort of like flashcard. You have some sort of note card that kind of references you back to, okay, this is what I need to attack today, or this is what we're doing today. For a long time, I kind of went, full overboard to start on. I would just try to have an exact script, like with every single thing planned out. And in certain situations, I still do. But I would literally live and die by that. Like whatever was right on the sheet, we had to do. Like it had to get done. Like no matter what it was. Then I went through a stage where you start to hear people say, "Oh, you should never, do that kind of thing. Like you should never have a script. Everything should be based off of flow." So then I kind of just screwed it. Like I was like, you know what, I'm not going to use it anymore. I'm not going to write scripts. I'm going to kind of see what's going on. I'm going to have an idea in my head. I'm going to follow the idea in my head. I'll have like the general program written down on paper, blah blah blah. And I did that for a while and got results in the things that are easy to get results in when it came to strength. Especially in the barbell lifts. Like at that time I was doing like a serious West Side type of scheme, and we would do max effort Monday, we would do dynamic stuff on Tuesday, and I would just change up the dynamic effort. And now listen, I don't want it to make it sound like I'm saying like that stuff is easy to do, but relatively speaking, timing somebody every week on sprints and trying to get somebody faster compared to doing 8-week cycle of conjugate work with squat, deadlift, bench, you're going to see improvements over here a lot more visibly than you're going to see them over here, because the sprints take a longer time to develop. The sprints take kind of like a longer period to work with, and the amount of fluctuation that happens with your sprint performance is a lot more so than what happens with the lifts. And that's because like the neurological demand is so much higher. Going back to the original topic, I would go back, I kind of went away from, writing anything down. I would kind of just go into it. Then I kind of got back into writing things like really strictly, trying to follow a plan. And that came in more to play when I started working with larger groups, in the sense of, kind of like what I wrote on the paper, was what was going to fit the group. It was just what the environment could do. So the plan that, we had kind of come up with, the scheme, how it organized through the week, there really wasn't any room for change, especially in the exercise selection. But we still, every once in a while, would, say, oh, let's do 10 reps instead of 5 reps. So let's do 8 reps instead of 6 reps on certain things, especially, supplemental lifts, just because it worked better logistically for the amount of time that we had, right? Then as like I'm moving forward, I kind of got into my like really hardcore programming phase again. This I did allow a little bit more variability, but I was really trying to be strict because I have a problem with being kind of like an ADD program jumper. I'll do something for like a week, read about something else. Oh, I want to try that. Oh, I want to try this. I want to try that. Today I want to sprint as fast as I can. Today I want to jump as high as I can. Today I want to lift the world, right? And I had a problem with that for a long time, but it did help me learn a lot, especially about different techniques, like how potentiation clusters feel, how jumping on a jump mat feels, how sprinting on timers feel, like that kind of thing. Like, I really got to learn, like especially on the athletic side of things, like how these things feel, especially with reactive work and stuff. So it was a beneficial time, but long term my development kind of suffered because I was never on a plan. I never stuck to anything, and that came from not having a strict plan. Like I just kind of wrote stuff for the situation I was in and went from there. Then, I get into the point where I'm starting to, as they say, like you think you know a lot, then you start to realize you don't know, you think you don't know anything. And then you're kind of just like thinking that, I'm just going to take this as it goes. I think I have a good handle on things, but I still don't know a lot. But it's okay because I'm learning. Feel like I'm in that phase now where like, I'm trying to have a plan in place for what's going on. Like I have a plan, I always try to have a plan in place, like a template back, and I try to have some progressions, especially for main lifts. But I am totally open to changing things now. Like, you know what I mean? It's like, if I don't think something's working, and then my gut is telling me it's not working, I'm scrapping it. But if I think it's beneficial, I'm keeping it in. We're going to see if it pays off. If it pays off, great. If it doesn't, great. Whatever. Like, where the overall progress comes from the key performance indicators of whatever the program is. And that also the key performance indicators are dictated directly based upon the needs of the athlete. So what this all stems back to is, now I'm in a spot where I have a skeleton plan. I try to plan out, at least 4 weeks at a time. I think doing the 4 week, especially for the general training age of the athlete I'm working with, is okay. As you start to get a little bit more advanced in the training age, there needs to be a lot more variability, and that's where like the conjugate thing comes in huge. And I do that a lot, especially for my accessory work. And a lot of my lifts, especially for my combine guys, like, I'm kind of constantly changing it up. I have a general theme, and I try to stick to the theme, and most of like what I dictate just based upon sets, reps, schemes, whatever, is kind of how they feel. Like, how are you feeling today? Like, what's going on? All right, like, let's kind of go in this direction. And the thing is, I'm sound in doing that because I have objective measurements in their sprints to let me know, hey, like, we're getting what we need. You know what I mean? Nobody really is going to care what they squat. Nobody's going to care what they deadlift. People are going to care about what their 40 is, what their shuttle is, what their vert is, what their broad is, and how well they do on the 225 bench test. That's what they care about. So I need to make those things be good. And, it doesn't matter if, they're box squatting 500 or 550, or if they're, trap bar deadlifting 600 or 500, right? Like, you know what I mean? Like, the sub-maximal training method has been something that is good because this maximal CNS output is coming from the sprints and the plyos that I do with them normally. So, basically, for them, I kind of follow that scheme. But for everything else, I have a structured plan. And I put it in a Google document, and then what I do is I take a Post-it note, and I'll write all my notes down. And this is where it's coming back full circle to the flashcard idea. So I'll write it down here, and I'll put it on the flashcard or my little Post-it. And now, instead of me kind of like trying to come up with something on the fly, I've already thought through the process of what this session should be like, what the goals are like, stay along the same theme. Put it on here, and now I can pull this out of my pocket and go, oh yeah, we need to do this. Yeah. Oh, okay, good. Yeah, now I remember, because you know what? At the end of the day, I'm a total scatterbrain. I'm total scatterbrain. I have ADD everywhere. Sometimes I'll be in mid-sentence and I'll just totally forget what I'm talking about. So having this for a person like me is great. The Post-it notes come in handy. And it's good because I have the logs, the full logs somewhere else, and then I have these just to help give me a quick clap. Oh, yep, let's do this. I've done the clipboard thing before, and I think it's a lot just to carry around the clipboard. But to take out a little Post-it, this is literally just for me, like, oh, yeah, let's do this. Oh, yeah, let's do this. Put it right back in the pocket. So this is a little technique I've been working on as I've been going through my own coaching, and my own programming, and my own training process and learning process. And that thing, obviously, it's always going to continue to happen. I'm never going to be, where I want to be. It's not how it is. Like, you know what I mean? I'm going to strive for it every day. I'm trying to be better every day. But there's always something to learn. There's always something to improve on. And something that I've been getting a lot better at is in session being on top of my game. And that comes from having these little Post-it notes. So that's just a little insight to what I've been doing. And if, you need to help finding techniques for you, let's talk it up. Have a good night.